I often got asked, how did I get deep about the ins and outs of, say, like the music industry? Um, it had to do with Barry White. I used to watch Barry White interviews, and he's one of my all-time favorite artists. Some people have downplayed him, called him champagne soul. I remember some cats trying to make it all bubbly and stuff, but he was one of the greatest artists ever to me. Singer, songwriter, music composer, the godfather, Chucky Booker. So that should tell you something right there. Strong musicality. Barry White, though, when I listened to his music, and he was somewhat of a child prodigy too, because he started off very young. You know, Love Unlimited, his orchestrations, all the stuff he did with Gene Page, etc. Had Ray Parker Jr. playing, had a lot of great talent come through him. Barry White would talk about the pros and cons of the industry, talk about how they did things that you saw on TV weren't real, etc. He was probably the most scariest cat, not because he's big, strong brother, but because of the fact that he spoke from the shot from the hip. He didn't sugarcoat about the industry, you know. I remember one time they said he had to pull a gun on a guy at 20th Century because the guy wouldn't pay him. He went through that. Now, Barry was a pretty cool dude because Elton John hooked him up. And he happened to be good friends with Wink Martindale, if you remember the old show Tic Tac Toe. So it wasn't that Barry didn't have crossover appeal, but Barry was a hood brother. But he spoke facts. When you hear all these so-called gangster rappers, all these cats playing all tough and everything in the studio on TV, Barry just got his paper and he had international love. And he didn't have to do anything. He was from the streets. It wasn't no phoniness like Rick Ross. Some of these rappers talk all tough and all that. They ain't got nothing to back it up with. Barry White was the truth. So anyway, he was the artist that I would watch his interviews. I would see what he said because, of course, I appreciate his musicality. He's one of the greatest artists ever. But then when you have the skills and then you got the knowledge and you from the streets and you can talk that talk and walk that walk, that made you that made you tenfold. So, if you ever get a chance, watch some of his old interviews about what he was talking about, how he prepared himself in the context of paperwork and stuff. Just because you come from the hood where you come from don't mean you have to be illiterate to signing papers and not knowing your worth and the documentation. So I wanted to give a shout out because he was very informative and his legacy should be remembered. And as a matter of fact, I want to say it was about like almost 20 years ago that he passed, and he will not be forgotten. So, but I always enjoyed his interviews. Always, he was the truth. And there's only been one guy that they called the maestro. However name you want to call it, Barry White brought you that flavor. Show you right. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments, and I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch out for another shit if you like my piece.